So first off, with Candace Owens, one, I don't feel like she has a good political footing anymore, especially because Black Lives Matter was her whole thing. Now she needs to go into something else. And then secondly, I don't think that she's logically consistent, which is a problem for me, where I'm trying to figure out a good way of putting this. Okay, she's not logically and characteristically consistent, where she's like, in plenty of her podcasts, she's like, I'm a classy lady, you know, you have to be eloquent. And then she goes on a podcast, like Tim's podcast, and swears up a storm, sounds completely ineloquent. And she's like, oh, I'm a Christian Protestant. And then she just sounds almost like completely out of control. Like the sign of a eloquent woman is a self-controlled woman. I think that's why they dress a certain way, why they have their speech be a certain way. Candace Owens has elements of that, but it's like she hasn't honed it in. And so she just flies off the cuff. And then she has enough guts to be like, oh, well, Ben Shapiro's emotionally unhinged, when she spends way more time. She spent a good chunk of her career being emotionally unhinged. And then Ben Shapiro gets emotional about one thing, about a very important thing, where his Jewish, you know, brothers and sisters are being slaughtered. And he's like, you know, that's a disgrace. Maybe he didn't, again, I'm not going to say he did it like the best way. I don't think he did it the best way. I think he probably should have had a conversation with her before, but I don't feel like her response to him has been the best. She kind of hid behind some Bible verses. And
right. Well, the fighting in general is not good, especially since they're on the same team. I mean, they both work for the Daily Wire.
Yeah.
And like
really
this
stupid.
does nothing but give fuel for the opposite, like the opposition. They're just going to use this, mock us, how we can't even agree. So
agreed.
That just needs to stop. I'm sure they've met privately.
They're gonna,
hopefully.
Because obviously Ben did not respond well and told her to quit Daily Wire, so that's a whole thing. Maybe we'll cover that. In another episode, another News Corner episode. I don't know. We try to stay out of the drama, but I think it's okay to point out that conservatives suck sometimes, and this is a great case of when they do. But we have a more important episode, The Marvels. No, don't give me your silence. Don't give me your silence. I'm going to need you to bring the testosterone to this episode.
Can I? It's a woman power movie.
It was a lot of woman. I don't know about a lot of power, but it was a lot of woman. Sadly, Steven could not be here. He fell ill. Send him your prayers. He'll be fine. But thankfully, I am here to step in like a good woman would. That's because women are better than men.
Yeah, if you watch that movie, then you would think so.
You probably would. We're going to dive into it. We're going to talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, but it's probably going to be more of an episode of what we didn't like.
There was some things I did like, and I will defend a couple things.
Okay, then you and I might get into a fight. Okay, so let's go ahead and just dive into this movie. Now, The Marvels is apparently three female superheroes. We have Miss Marvel, which is the kid. I don't even know what her name is. But yeah, I don't know what her name is. Like Khan or Kamala?
Yeah.
Kamala Khan?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yes.
Yeah, so Kamala Khan, and then we had Captain Marvel. Played by Brie Larson, and then
Captain
Nick Fury's
Rambo?
daughter.
No, it's not his daughter. It's Captain Rambo. No.
Maybe. I don't even know.
Dang.
Okay.
We just watched the movie.
So this is the first point. All right. So let's talk about some of the things. I want to talk about some of the things that I hate, and then you talk about some of the things you hate.
Okay.
All right. Here's one of the first things that I hated about the movie. So the movie is about 2 hours long? Probably a little longer than that.
A little more than that, probably.
And so it starts off, and we barely know these characters. That's the problem. That's the first problem. You barely know these characters. Unless you've seen Kamala Khan in some other Disney TV series.
She had her own show.
Right. Most people haven't kept up with it.
Right.
So they've expanded the Marvel Universe to where you have to just be into every single TV show. And the truth of the matter is, most people don't really care that much about these characters
anymore. Now there used to be a point where you would watch every movie, and that's another thing because now they branched to shows, and now they're tying in shows with movies. So now it's hard to like understand the full concept of the movie if you haven't watched all the shows and the movies. Otherwise, you get super confused really quickly.
Right. Well, that's one of the first problems with it, I think, is that you have no real emotional investment in these characters.
No.
That's the first thing. The second thing for me that was an issue was the plot. I could not figure out the plot. It took me, they had to do so much setting it up to where maybe by like the mid to end of the movie, I understood what was happening. Essentially, what's connected these three characters to make the Marvels is that something happened in time with the villain where she linked their time. So if one of them used a power, then they would switch places. And this would happen between the three of them, which, to be honest with you, I actually thought was a good concept.
Yeah, I actually really liked that part too.
Yeah, it was a good concept with trash characters. Where, like, if you use that, say, for maybe, like, Iron Man or Thor or, I'm trying to think of another character, Captain America, okay? Like, if they were, like, switching spots, that would be kind of dope. You'd be like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But then you have, like, these three women that are like, I don't even care about them that much.
Well, see, yeah, so that aspect was really cool too. I think it kind of worked better for them because they all three had powers related to, I believe it was energy. Mm-hmm. So it was easier for them to swap. Whereas if it was like Thor mixed with Iron Man and Captain America, that's a completely different power. So that part, I think that was actually very clever how they included that.
Yeah, I think, again, I do like the concept. It was that I felt like it was wasted on the characters. Because I didn't think the characters were interesting, even though they had like the lights and all that jazz. And Captain Marvel has obviously had her own movie, and she was kind of this Mary Sue that could do nothing wrong. It was just a perfect character. And then another thing with Kamala Khan that really bothered me. Again, it's this idea around female empowerment where she's like apparently obsessed with Captain Marvel. Like, she's got all the Captain Marvel posters on, and she just thinks that Captain Marvel is just the best superhero on the planet. And it was so obviously unrealistic where most girls don't think that. Most girls that are into superheroes, like the male superheroes. So I felt like they were trying to make us believe something about Captain Marvel that we didn't believe. Like, for example, in a movie with Iron Man, right? The audience loves Iron Man. The people in the movie love Iron Man to a certain extent. In this case, you're in a movie where people don't really like the audience doesn't like Captain Marvel, but you have characters that like Captain Marvel. And you're like, there's a total disconnect. Does that make sense?
That last part does. I would push back a little bit. So I thought it kind of actually did make sense. I can see, because that's another thing I think people forgot watching this movie is she's supposed to be a little girl. Like, she's not a grown adult like these other ones. Okay. So I can totally see a young girl who also has superpowers, who is lost with, like, she doesn't know who to go to about these, superpowers, idolizing someone that has similar powers and is very, in her eyes, strong, confident, and saves the world. And that in other movies too, especially in the Marvel movie, you have people that like fanboy over other superheroes. I mean, Peter Parker did it with Iron Man. So like with that one, I think they didn't make him obsessed with it, but also the difference is he was older, whereas this girl, she's a girl. She's a little kid who wants to grow up to be just like her. So I can see the obsessive part of that. And I actually thought her performance probably was the best out of the whole movie.
By default, maybe. By default.
Well, because, and that was another thing, she's supposed to play a little girl, and I can totally see a little girl acting like that who has powers and doesn't know what to do. Like, there's times where when things got serious, she started crying and panicking, and then there was times where she tried to make light of the situation, and then there was times where she was like so empathetic and just had to hug Captain Marvel and Monica. There we go. And so I actually thought her performance wasn't that bad. The other two I can't defend.
Yeah, I see when you explain the character of Khan, Miss Marvel, if they had maybe portrayed the character in that way, I could be on board. They didn't portray Khan that way.
We haven't seen the show.
Oh, I haven't. Okay, that's fair. But even then, though, like, I didn't get any sense of that, though, in the movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like she was just all bubbles and laughs and, and I just feel like, again, I needed all this context.
She had some serious moments, like in the very first.
I said in the beginning.
Oh, in the beginning.
In the
okay,
beginning.
Okay.
Yeah, I think she had some. I did appreciate that they did try to make her more serious as the movie progressed. So I guess give credit where credit is due. But at the same time, I feel like I still needed a lot of context.
Yes, absolutely.
And I was missing a lot of it. And with I guess Monica, you said the black woman is Monica.
I can't remember the last name. I think Monica Rambeau. There we go. That's what it is.
Like I guess I'm missing something as well, but like I didn't know anything. Yeah, that's the thing. I didn't know anything about her. All I knew was Captain Marvel.
So Monica, have you watched the first Captain Marvel?
I did not watch the first.
Okay,
Captain
so
Marvel.
if you watch the first one, she actually is in that movie, but she's a little girl. So that did make sense in this movie too, where she had
that
kind of
part
resentment.
I did follow. That part I could easily follow what was going on there. But the character as a whole wasn't like and here's the issue. I didn't feel like at the end of the movie I should have any investment in her. Like I was like, why should I care about this character? That was my problem. Like, why should I care about this character? The only character that I really had any sort of feelings for was the cat. Like, I thought the cat.
Which
I was
one?
Like, the big cat. The big cat. I felt like I didn't have any investment. Goose, yes, the cat Goose. But I didn't feel like I had any investment in these characters. I felt like the plot was weird still, where you had. I guess I don't even know what her name is. I don't even remember any of these characters' names because they were so forgettable. Kind of
like we just watched the movie.
We just watched it.
It was they threw it in too. Like it was very rushed. I didn't really appreciate the plot. I can see the story they were trying to go with because it does make sense. However, they took it to a different level, and the villain, we didn't have any emotional build up with her. She was a complete stranger.
She comes out of nowhere because essentially, just for the audience, Captain Marvel apparently had gone to this villain's planet because she didn't start off as a villain, and this is a planet that is controlled by an AI. And for some noble reason, Captain Marvel decides to destroy this AI because it's evil, something like that.
Yeah, from the first one. Again.
Yeah, from the first one. Destroys the AI, and so now this planet doesn't have sunshine, doesn't have water, good air to breathe, and so basically the villain of the story makes it her mission to find these, I guess, cuffs, magical cuffs, we'll call them, and go to different planets and take the atmosphere or the water or the sun from each of these areas and trying to personalize it to Captain Marvel to hurt Captain Marvel, who she seeks revenge towards and calls the Annihilator throughout. And it's said in a really cheesy way too. It's not even that cool sounding. And so again, we don't know anything about this villain other than she's
trying to revitalize her planet by taking away from all of the planets that Captain Marvel has some emotional ties to.
Exactly. And one of those planets is Earth, so she tries to take the sun from the Earth. And then there's this another planet. I don't even know what it's called. I don't even remember. But it's this planet where she's trying to take the water from it. So they go there. And this is the worst. This is one of the worst parts of the movie. For some reason, Captain Marvel has entered into an arranged marriage with the prince. All right? And their language there is that they sing. And so they have an entire musical number where Captain Marvel and her husband, the prince, start dancing. And they all break into a musical song, and it is the strangest, most unserious part of this entire film where you ask yourself, why are you there?
You can see they were trying to like put in some comedic aspects to it, but like elements, but it was, again, like the general story could have been really good. I think throughout the whole movie though, it just, we weren't on the edge of our seats. Like we didn't have any like history or context with all these other planets. We didn't, or the characters as much. And we definitely didn't with the villain. So like we're just seeing some ticked off person destroy all these other, because these planets are getting destroyed too. That was another thing. So she's breaking like this hole into the atmosphere and sucking the resources out of this planet, forcing the planet to like eventually I think it just like blows up or goes away.
Yeah, something happens
killing millions of people.
Yeah.
So like we're watching all this happen, and you get to a point where it's like, why is she doing this? And then fast forward towards the end, it was irrelevant because Captain Marvel was like, I'll help fix it, and the person was like, no, I still want to kill you. It was just like, all right, well, what is your goal?
Yeah. And that's the thing, too. You didn't even realize what the villain was trying to do until maybe halfway through the movie.
Yeah.
That was the thing. Like, I was completely confused. So I know everyone's talking about the feminist girl power issue, but it's genuinely a bad plot. Like, it's not well put together. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the point that you and I are trying to get to, is that the concept wasn't horrible. It wasn't a horrible concept. It was just wasted on characters. It wasn't laid out properly, and so you're left confused for most of it. And then when you get to the end, you're like, I don't know, it's almost a little bit anticlimactic. Even how the villain dies is kind of weird.
Captain Marvel's so powerful, and like she can do no wrong, and you see her go through ships and just blast all these people away, and then she gets her butt kicked. Because I mean, this person also, the villain, doesn't have any superpowers besides the bracelet and then the hammer.
Right.
If she doesn't have those, she's apparently like was mortal. Because as soon as Captain Marvel gets her butt kicked, a piece of shrapnel falls on top of her. And I'm like, okay, it takes a little piece of shrapnel to take her down. And it just cuts right into her. I'm like, oh, okay. So she's not like invincible. She's not like a Thanos. Like,
right.
How powerful is Captain Marvel?
Right. She was supposed to be the most powerful being in the galaxy or something like that. And that's the thing, is like we had Captain Marvel where everyone's complaining that she's a Mary Sue, right? Like that she can do no wrong. And then they're like, okay, let's try to fix it. But you can't fix it. Like, now it's like, why couldn't Captain Marvel do all of this by herself? She doesn't need the other two characters. That's the problem. Like, they didn't create a plot that was good enough to convince me that the other two characters were completely necessary.
And then, honestly, like, at the end, we're fast forwarding now, where she goes back to the planet, I think it was
something like that.
The planet, Hala. And then she restores she restores the planet by starting back up the sun. Is like, you could have done that from the beginning. Like, you knew what they were doing. You could have restarted the sun, and then she wouldn't have the support of the other people, the followers, because they were only following the villain because she promised them that she wasn't giving back their planet. Problem solved right there. Captain Marvel brought the planet back. Like, it was so unnecessary.
Yeah, it was just stupid. It was a stupid plot. And there's people in the media that are like, wow, if you hate this movie, it's because you're anti-feminist, you hate women, blah, 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 blah.
Same thing with Black Panther. It's like, you can't critique the movie for being a bad movie just because there's a minority group in it.
Yeah.
Like, because Black Panther was like, really revolved around like black culture, African culture, and then, it was mostly black starred, black casted. So it was like, oh, like something new for the first time. And then you look at Captain Marvel with the females, and it's like, you want to critique it, but also you don't want to seem like a bigot. So you're like, oh, it was a good movie, I guess. I love how, the plot didn't make any sense. The characters were like, I had no emotional connection with. I really didn't care if they died or not. It was all that. Forget it, because since they were part of their minority group, I love the movie.
Yeah, like it's so dumb. Like, and I'm just gonna try to be nice because I'm just saying stupid a lot because I don't. It's what I say when I have no words left, or I need time to think it through. I just dislike this idea that what you said, we can't criticize something because there's a minority group, or like like this movie, I'm a female. Guess what? I thought that the plot was bad. Like I didn't think that the characters were that funny. I didn't feel like the characters were consistent, like we talked about with Captain Marvel. Like, I should be able to say these things. I think the musical number was cheesy and stupid.
So unnecessary.
And cringeworthy. Like, I shouldn't have to be a female to say that. Like, it's just bad. Like, can't we just say something's objectively bad, like, regardless of whose mouth it's coming from? And I think people agree, because let's take a look at this.
I'm about to say, I'm pretty sure the movie's tanking in the box office.
Yeah. So here we go. So, the Marvels is flopping at the box office. Yeah. So let's just take a look at this.
The suits are really nice.
Yeah, I did like the suit. Okay, let's also talk about the action scenes real quick. Hang on, because this is important. The action scenes were so clunky.
See, that's another thing where I would defend.
No, it was bad.
Here's the thing.
Did you see Monica try to move? It was not good.
Here's the thing. Have you heard Martin Scorsese speak about Marvel movies? How he's like, they're too like, what do you say they were? Like theme parkish. That's why he doesn't like superhero movies, because they're over the top, too colorful. He doesn't count superhero movies as real movies, because he finds them just to be a bunch of theme parks.
Interesting. Okay.
So when you look at a superhero movie, what do you see? You see the over the top, bang, pow, colors. Even in the comic books, it's colorful, it's unrealistic, because they are superheroes.
Because that's what a superhero movie is.
So then you watch this movie, it's so over the top. There's so many colors. So like, if you're looking for like actual like comic book action, I would say that the action in that movie was pretty like.
That's the thing. I don't agree with that, because the way that Monica was moving, it wasn't like a flash pow. Like it was almost just it was almost too realistic. That was my problem, because she's like has these powers. You know, they're all superheroes, and she was just kind of the way she was moving. Even the choreography of it didn't even feel realistic. Of like, oh, this person definitely could have laid a punch here, or like she should be able to move faster in this scene. So to me, it was like the opposite of that. Like it wasn't superhero-y enough.
Okay.
That's just how I felt. But I mean, it's again that kind of thing is subjective. I feel like that's subjective.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
How you look at it, definitely, Matt. Like, I can see, because the action wasn't good, but it wasn't also like super bad.
But why would you want to put like $300 million or something into a movie for the action to just be subpar?
Because they probably didn't think the movie would tank, because they're so used to.
How did they not think this was gonna tank?
Because I think they are still looking at the old Marvel movies and seeing how successful they are, and no matter what, Marvel has a fan base that's not going anywhere.
Sure.
No matter, I mean, we saw it. No matter what, there's gonna be people that go see the movie. I think they miscalculated how many people would show up or actually advocate for other people to see the movie.
Well, because we went to the theater.
Yeah.
And there was
we contributed to that box office.
We did. And there was like 7 other people, maybe, in that theater. Not a lot of people. No. It was really sad. It was sad. Which,
again, it shows I think they're not paying attention, because rewind back to when the first, second, even third Avengers movies came out. I remember when I would go to the movie theater, it would be jam-packed in there.
Right. Like
they would sell out.
Yeah.
Where now I think they still think they're selling out the theaters, and they're like, "Oh, what happened?"
With these numbers, I don't know how you could think that.
Also, it's Disney that owns them, so like even if the movies tank, they have so many other streams of revenue that it doesn't.
But they can't keep this up forever, though. Like
they probably could.
Not forever. I feel like they're gonna lose. I feel like they're gonna lose some favor. Like if they consistently come out with crappy movies, people are just gonna start turning away, like to a certain point where, yes, you'll have those who are so loyal and die hard, but it's not going to be enough revenue to keep up what they have now. Like, they'll always be a thing, for sure, but I think they're going to lose their power in the market.
I think for every 5 bad movies or shows that they make, they have one that lands. Because, like, this movie was terrible, and then I argue other shows have been terrible, but WandaVision did really well. Loki did really, really well the first season. Second season, how about that one?
Yeah.
Wasn't good. And even shows that people didn't think were going to, I thought Moon Knight was fantastic. So, like, as long as they keep having at least one stick, they're not going to have to slow down. And then again, they have so many different streams of revenue. They have their, what is it, the theme parks, their cruise lines, their merch. Like, the mouse isn't going anywhere.
Yeah. I would say, too, and I'll actually give this to the Marvel's credit, is that they didn't try to push, they might have tried to push the woke girl power. They did not really add any transgenderism or any sort of gay relationships as far as I could see. And so I will kind of give it to them, because Disney has been doing a very bad job at deciding that they're going to push that agenda. So I'm glad that they didn't do that.
In that movie, at least. If I remember correctly, though, I am actually pretty sure Kamala's gay.
Oh, well,
but I'm not sure. That's not. I don't know that for sure.
Yeah, I don't know either. But even if you hadn't told me that, I would not have known.
Right.
Like I would not have thought that. So that's all fine by me. Okay, let's just take a quick look at this. We have that in the back. Okay, so this article, at least by Variety, is saying that The Marvels is shaping up to be the biggest box office flop in the history of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But that's no concern for the star Iman Vellani. The 21-year-old actor makes her big screen debut in the superhero tentpole by reprising her role as Kamala Khan from the Disney Plus television series Miss Marvel. And I don't really care what she has to say. The Marvels opened to $47 million at the domestic box office, the lowest opening weekend in the history of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Before that opening, the worst debut belonged to 2008's The Incredible Hulk, which was $55.4 million, not adjusted for inflation, which premiered at the dawn of the MCU.
That's so crazy. That movie, we were 8. That was the last time Marvel had a flop.
Yeah, well, everyone knows
to that level.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You expected that to be like a one-off thing. Now it's a one-off thing if the Marvel movie's good.
That's
you know
true.
what I'm saying? Like it's just weird. It's not right.
And then even the post-credit scenes, it's like the post-credit scenes used to give you like excitement, and you're like, "Oh, this is about to come out." And the post-credit scenes are just like, "Oh my gosh, you guys are gonna try to like that. You're gonna try that," and then the CGI. Oh my god, it gets me all mad.
The CGI was not fantastic.
Terrible.
All right, and so just read a little bit more. So it says here that the Marvels only got worse as it earned $10.2 million, and its second weekend, a disastrous 78% drop that now holds the record. The MCU's biggest second weekend drop. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumanium previously had the largest decline of the franchise with 69.9%. It's likely the Marvels won't even make it to 100 million at the domestic box office at this point. Yeah, so what did Stephen King say? Oh, this has got to be funny. I don't go to MCU movies, don't care for them, but I find this barely masked gloating over the low box office for the Marvels very unpleasant. Why gloat over failure? He added in a separate post, some of the rejection of the Marvels may be adolescent fanboy hate. You know, yuck, girls.
I see that can't be true because they had other female superheroes that us boys loved.
Yeah.
We loved Black Widow. We loved Wanda. Like, I think that's about it. Or
well, there's Wonder Woman too.
Oh, well, yeah.
Wonder Woman was a great superhero because she wasn't trying to be, the best of the best. Like she had such a good character. She was a humble person, like in how she talked. I think Gal Gadot did a fantastic job portraying her. She was realistically strong because of where she came from. She was just a great character. The first Wonder Woman was great. The second one was horrible, but the first one was really good.
I was wondering, are you about to defend the second one?
No, I'm not going to defend the second one.
But there's been female superheroes that the men have liked too.
Yeah.
So it's not just yuck girls. It's just yuck. This is just yuck. That's all it is.
This is just yucky. This is just gross. I want to actually see what the 21-year-old. I don't know.
Because I'm pretty sure the last Black Widow movie did really well.
The Black Widow one.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it did fairly. Like it wasn't amazing, but it wasn't. I thought it was pretty good. I felt like.
I mean, like its performance though, I'm pretty sure it did really well for a Black Widow movie.
I'd have to look. The Black Widow's box office.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how Black Widow did. And by the way, Black Widow was actually funny. Like there were some really funny parts of that, and they were females. Like so, it's not just that there was a female cast. It was that the writing wasn't that good.
$339 million.
Yeah. So yeah, 379.8 million. Hang on, let me just put this up for the screen so everyone can see it. Great. We have 37. Wow, I can't speak. $379.8 million. And then again, this goes back into the idea that one, we have we have some sort of emotional investment in the character.
A lot. We have history built up with that character.
Exactly. Even though Kamala Khan, yes, she has a Disney Plus series, she wasn't in that MCU fandom yet. Like she really didn't reach that. So again, Black Widow has that. The dialogue was easily better. It wasn't just all about women. Like we had some good male characters in there. Who played her sister?
Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh. Her character and the way she delivered it, hilarious.
Yeah.
I thought she was really funny.
Yeah.
I thought the dialogue was good.
And people got excited for her appearance in the Hawkeye show too.
Yeah.
With Kate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another female character that us men like. It's not just because they're females. It's like, are you good? First of all, are you a good actress?
Yeah.
Second of
it's
all,
a huge part.
is your character likable?
Right.
Third of all, can I actually build a relationship with you watching you?
Yeah.
Or are you just throwing this character in and I'm supposed to shed a tear when they pass away at the end of the movie?
Right. Exactly. And with Florence Pugh's character, I don't remember her name, and I should. Yelena. Is that, again, proof that you can build a good character quickly, because people liked that character at the end. That was her first ever appearance.
Yeah.
It's because, one, we're connected to a character that we really like and we value, and then also the writers for that character
Did a good job.
They did a great job. Florence did a great job. And so it was just a perfect storm. You have $379 million versus 47 million.
So crazy.
With a 79% drop at the box office on the second week. That tells you it's not the audience, all right? It's got to be something that's going on with the movie.
And
There's
they're
something
seeing
wrong.
this, and it's not just this movie. You're seeing a declining trend with the Marvel franchise. Like we're no longer interested in these movies or shows, and they need to take a step back, reevaluate, take a break.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing. They're just trying to pump out projects so they can get more money. They need to look back and see, why did these movies do so well. Mm-hmm. They need to do some self-reflection, because I'm a huge Marvel fan, and it bothers me that they're going. It's just I can't even I don't even get excited anymore. Like there used to be a point where I would mark it on my calendar. They used to drop the trailers months out. Avengers was almost, I'm pretty sure, for first Infinity War, the first trailer came out almost a year before the movie was supposed to come out. Mm-hmm. They were able to market and tease us with this so far out, and we would still get excited. And it used to be the Super Bowl. We used to oh, here comes a Marvel trailer. And now it's okay, cool. They make another project. Okay, I'll watch it.
Yeah, it's kind of cheap fast food,
Yeah.
It's just not, it's you're just cranking it out, and we know the quality's not going to be that good. It's like fast fashion. That's what it's like. It looks kind of good on the outside, but when you get in there, it falls apart. That's what Marvel movies have become. You're just the movie version of Sheen.
As I'm wearing a hoodie and just a hat.
What?
What is fast fashion?
Fast fashion is where they make really cheap clothes and sell them at a low price, and they're able to do that in third world countries for very cheap and inhumane labor. Mm. That's kind of the picture of it for you there.
So is there like Goodwill?
Well, Goodwill's that's thrifting. So it's you're using secondhand stuff. But brands like Target, a lot of their stuff is more fast fashion-y. I don't know about Under Armour. A lot of American companies do, but there's some companies that really take that super far, H&M. Shein is kind of an online brand. Ask your wife. She'll know.
Okay.
Yes, she will know. Pretty Little Things, another fast fashion. And so it's just, you can get the clothes cheap, but the labor is really inhumane.
Yeah, that's how you know it's a different world. You said fast fashion. I was like, well, does that mean you just throw on something quickly? I'm wearing a hoodie and a hat, I guess.
That's fair. You're a guy. You wouldn't know about that. You probably haven't gone shopping in a good while.
No.
Yeah. Well, I know you get new t-shirts though. You got to be getting new t-shirts.
I order them online. I get more political t-shirts. I get excited for that. I shop for that stuff.
I know. I imagine that you do that.
I
imagine that. But yeah, I guess that's how we feel about the Marvels.
There was some good parts about it, but overall it wasn't a good movie. And I think it's time for Marvel/Disney to take a step back. Give it 5 years. Don't send out another project for 5 years. Because that's another thing. Like, I think that's another big thing that's bothering us Marvel fans is because they're giving us characters that we know have so much potential, and we get excited for the character and the possibility of a great film. But based off their track record, now it's like we don't get excited anymore for characters that like Blade. I was super excited to see what they're gonna do with that character, but now it's like with the movies and the shows that they've been making, I'm like they're probably gonna make him something that he's not. It's probably gonna be rushed and low quality. Like they need to take a step back, wait 5 years. Don't even cast. Don't spend a dime.
You sound like you're talking to a serial dater.
Right?
But they're like, stop.
Take
we need
a break.
You to be single for at least a year. Just be single for a year.
It's
Just
not
decide
them.
what
It's
you
you.
want. Right? Yeah.
You just need to wait. Go back to the books. Look at the projects that have been so successful and have given them the platform they have, and then and then go from there.
Yeah.
I don't want to see anything else for 5 years. No Marvel.
All right. No Marvel for 5 years. That's Isaiah's take on it. I would just say if they just get better leadership and write some good movies. If you just overhaul, just be like, let's get some real people in here. Then I'd be okay with 2 years. 3 years would be good with me.
No, they need 5.
All right.
5 years.
5 years. 5 years. Let us know in the comments. What did you think of the Marvels? Do you think there's anything we missed? I'm sure we did. And let us know if you like movie reviews. We'll do more. If there's a movie you want us to review, let us know. Put in the comments below. If this is YouTube, make sure you subscribe, like this video. Or if you're on Spotify and you haven't subscribed yet, why haven't you? Or add to your playlist. I don't know how it works on Spotify, but we want you to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, all the places. That's what I got.
Yeah. Subscribe. Stop being a loser and subscribe.
Did you say don't be a loser?
Yeah, don't be a loser.
Don't be a loser. Subscribe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do it right now.
Right. We'll wait.
Wait.
We'll wait. Or I'll just stop recording and hope that you will do that soon.
No, we're still waiting and watching you.
You're just going to stare into the monitor. All right, we're done.